welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi, it is almost the new year. We know that Team Canada will be announcing their roster soon. We've got a lot of Olympic-based stuff coming up on the YouTube that'll be coming out in the next couple of days as well, which has been a lot of fun. We've already recorded one of them, and yeah, we got some cool stuff for Christmas. I know we got a good amount of news that we'll get to in just a second here, but Brundi, we had a great Christmas, and I know you got a couple of cool things. So, what is there anything you wanted to talk about that you maybe got for
I know what
Christmas?
you're fishing for, and no,
I'm
I do
fishing.
not have it
Yeah,
displayed here as obviously with this going up on YouTube and everything, but the video could not do. But it was a personalized gift from you involving one of my all-time favorites, Joe Thornton, and a very iconic quote that that he said back in like 2014 or something, a little bit ago, but
a little bit ago.
yeah, if any of you aren't familiar with the quote, I could say on here, right?
Yeah,
I'll see why not. I think it's as long as I don't have the thing up with it saying there, I think I can say whatever I want here. So basically, it was a picture of Joe Thornton sitting on his lawnmower when he signed another 1 year deal, when he's kind of just continuing to roll out the 1 year deals with San Jose. And underneath, it's got a quote, and very famous quote. It came after Thomas Hertl. This was back when he was a rookie in the league, where I think he's now 31, 32 maybe even. So quite a bit ago. Scored 4 goals against the New York Rangers as a rookie. A very iconic fourth goal between the legs ended the career of Marty Biron, and was receiving some criticism for this goal, being like, yeah, you're a rookie in this league, scoring your fourth goal like that in a game that I think was like 8-2 or something at the time. And Joe Thornton, he wasn't directly being asked about this. It was someone else was being interviewed about it, but you could hear Joe Thornton in the background, and pretty simple, probably the most honest quote of all time, and said, if I scored 4 goals, I'd have, what was it? If I had scored 4 goals, I'd have my cock out. And I would have my cock out just stroking it. And
that's got to be like the best quote of all time. Like, that's so good.
It's so good, and there is, the audio did get out there, because again, it wasn't an interview with Thornton. It was just kind of heard in the background, and the audio got out there. One of the best quotes of all time, and Braden turned that into a very special, personalized gift for me. So I do thank you for that. But I know you got something pretty good that you enjoyed, actually. One of which you are wearing right now.
Yes, sir. This is my personalized, that my wife got me, my custom Saskatchewan Pirates jersey. That is my created team on whichever NHL game I'm on, that I play my franchise on. Specifically, you can see it here. Obviously, number 69, because that's funny. But this is also a customized jersey for the player. Oh God, how am I going to turn here? You can kind of see it.
There it is.
But it says "bastard" on the back. I made a creative character one night on a whim, and named him Cromulent Bastard, and made him a franchise. I don't even remember if he's a power forward or a grinder, but he's an absolute mess. And I gave him the worst skating cycle known to man, so he also looks like a pile of noodles when he skates. And she got me a custom jersey, and the camera's almost not even doing it justice with how bright and vibrant this green is.
It's pretty bright. Bright.
I'm definitely going to get some looks going to a couple of games. Every once in a while, I'm going to bust this out, and people are going to be like, what team is that? Why is it so green? It's number 69.
And where can I get one?
And it just says "bastard" on the back. And that's just so good.
How long until 69 is not the funniest, 60 number to put on a jersey, and 67 takes over? How long until that happens? It might have already happened, actually. It might have already happened. We might just be too old school.
I think it would happen a lot sooner if players weren't so afraid to wear 69. Nobody wants to wear 69. Like, it's kind of wild that so
Kind
few
of the
guys are willing
forbidden
to do it.
number.
Yeah, right?
It's kind of right there. Like people don't like. I mean, you can't wear 99, but no one wears 66 because it's not officially retired, but the league kind of treats it as it's retired. And then 69. It's kind of like it's right there of like anyone can wear it, but they choose not to.
I get they just want to be taken more seriously, I guess, or whatever. But like, oh, man, if I'm making millions of dollars to play professional hockey, I'm having fun with it. And like, truth be told, like if I was in the NHL, I would try and get number 13. That's my number. If that one was taken on the team I'm on, though, I think 69 would be probably my next choice.
And honestly, like jersey sales would be through the roof for it.
It gets people talking.
Like people would buy just because they're like, you know what? You're the only guy in the league wearing it. It's funny. I'm on board.
Well, and you can work that into some chirps pretty good too, right? Like you lay a big check, or like you beat a guy in a fight, then you're skating by the bench. It's like you got beat up by the dweeb who picked 69 on his jersey. Like you can every time you make fun of me, remember I beat you up. So like
but overall it was a good Christmas, good holidays. Hopefully everyone else
really
out
good.
there had a good time. If you guys got any special or fun or anything hockey related that you quite enjoyed, you can reach out to us on any of our socials and
dude,
and
let us know.
And send to us, let us know what you got, and maybe we'll make that into some kind of maybe reviewing the what you guys got and whatnot, maybe something like that. But yeah, any hockey related stuff you guys got that you want to share with us and are excited about or proud of, be sure to let us know on any of our socials. They are linked down below, so very easy to find, and we would love to hear from you guys and see all the cool hockey stuff you got, because it's always good getting new jersey, new stick, new gloves, new skates, whatever it may be, whatever you got. We would love to see that, but we got matters to attend to here.
We do.
And that's getting back on track around the league. Obviously, there was no episode on Friday, as you know, that was right when Christmas was, and we decided, you know what, we're going to take a little bit of a break here, and not a lot of stuff actually happened within the last week since the last episode, but we got some stuff. We got some
with the roster freeze and everything,
and I think we can just dive right in. I know there was an area you wanted to start with here, so Braden, throw us right back into the league here.
Yeah, we have one trade that has happened since, and we're gonna get to that in a second. Actually, sorry if you're making the timestamps and I'm maybe throwing you off a bit here. But there is actually one other thing I want to go for first, because quite frankly, we've been dogging on him. Who has not been dogging on him? Everyone has, including their fans. Everybody, their players, everybody. The Buffalo Sabres are on an 8-game win streak, and that we just have to talk about that first, because this exact time last year, they were in the middle of their, 11, 12 game losing streak.
It was bad.
Like they've now won 8 in a row. They changed their GM and immediately started winning every game. And the 8th game of that 8-game win streak was against the Boston Bruins. And Rasmus Dahlin actually was not in for that game. He stayed over in Sweden for an extra little bit on the break because he was spent time with his family. And some people were like, you got to come back to work on time. And it's like, normally I would agree, but his wife had open heart surgery pretty recently. So I'm not going to fault him for taking an extra day. And it sounds like he's already slated to be back now. So it was only the one game, but that game was the first time the Buffalo Sabres have won a game without Dahlin in the lineup since 2023. We are 3 days from it being 2026.
Wow. He's
the captain for a reason there.
Yeah, my God. He's the heart and soul of that team. And yeah, absolutely good on the Buffalo Sabres, Last year, the dreaded, double-digit losing streak that kind of seemed to be the norm for them, at least once per season is always what costs them. And full circle, a year later, they do the exact opposite. And they were down there near the bottom of the league. People are starting to write them off, and they've put themselves right back into the mix. And the Buffalo Sabres are still a team at this point that can be in the playoffs, and we haven't been able to say that at this time the last few years. So, happy for the Sabres, very happy for their fans, and hopefully they can continue to rack up the wins because I know you didn't, but I picked them to make the playoffs. I've been a Buffalo Sabres believer since day one of the season.
I hope they prove me wrong.
I'm feeling pretty good right now. I think everybody does. Even the people that didn't predict Buffalo, everybody wants to see Buffalo get back to the playoffs. Even if it's to go in the first round, who cares? Just to get there and prove that this team can do it. It'd be huge for the fans. It'd be huge for the franchise, the players. Like just it would be something.
The
quite
vibes
special.
in the arena for those playoff games doesn't matter
Absolutely.
what the score ends up being. It would be so good.
Yeah.
I was just curious, so I looked it up here. But it looks like since the 2023 season, in the 22-23 season, Dahlin missed 4 games. The season after that, he missed only 1. Last season, he missed 9 games. And then I think he's missed 1 or 2 this year before this last one. So that had to have been at least 13, 14, 15, if not a couple more games that they played without him that they could not win over the last bit. And so it was a pretty good win. I think it was a 4-1 win over the Bruins.
Something like that, yeah. It was a good win.
Yeah. So that's just crazy, and it goes to show how important he is to their lineup. But yeah, they look like an entirely revamped squad. Their building is already a lot more full than it was at parts earlier this season. Like as soon as they
They're
started
playing with
winning,
confidence.
everyone's taking notice. Like
absolutely, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how long it goes. I got to imagine that's the longest win streak going in the NHL at the moment, and
we'll see how long they can keep it up for.
Let's do some due diligence. Let's check Buffalo Sabres opponents coming up, because looks like they play tonight in St. Louis.
All right, so there's a win.
The next game after that is in Dallas against the Dallas Stars.
Win that. They're gonna get to 10.
Think they're getting to 10?
Yeah, this team everything's going the right way for them. This team's playing with so much confidence. They'll get to 10.
Well, we'll see if they can take out the Blues later tonight. We'll see if that.
We'll see if they even have a chance for 10 going into Dallas.
Yeah, right now they're 5th in the Atlantic, though. It's better than they were before, and it's a tight
Way
division.
Better.
Couple more wins and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. Then they got to maintain that, though. Yeah, that's a tough part. They got back into the mix now, but now they got to maintain being right in there, and very doable. Very doable. They have a good team, and maybe this is the year that things finally just start to click for them.
Yeah,
we've been saying it for years, and hey, maybe this is the year that it actually happens.
The team that they play after the Dallas Stars is the Columbus Blue Jackets, and that's the team we're going to talk about next year, because the Columbus Blue Jackets finally traded Igor Chinakhov. This broke pretty much right before we started recording this episode, and Igor Chinakhov's going to Pittsburgh. He went to Pittsburgh in exchange for forward Danton Heinen, a 2026 second round pick, and a 2027 third round pick. Is that St. Louis's second rounder, and then Washington's third rounder? Yeah. So they're moving some other people's picks, which I very much like, because that means they're keeping their own picks in case they want to offer sheet somebody. Some people don't think about it too much, but all it takes is you trading your second rounder instead of another second you have, and now you can't offer sheet guys in this huge range of money. So I like that they're low-key keeping their options open for that as well. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
I personally think it's a very good deal for both sides. Obviously, Chinakhov, we knew for a while he wanted out of Columbus, and Columbus was waiting for the right time to move him. And I think it's also important to remember that last week, before the roster freeze, we were talking about another trade with Columbus and Columbus acquiring Mason Marchment, and they gave up a second and a fourth. So, in the grand scheme of things, they have Mason Marchment, and they're kind of their draft pick position actually kind of improved. You go from a second and a fourth to second and a third, and you get Danton Heinen, who it's kind of work unsure to say of how it's going to work out there for him, but they're taking a chance on him, and they did have to get a roster player back, so I'm fine with that. So overall for Columbus, it's a good bit of business they've made in the last couple of days. And for Pittsburgh, some people think and again, it's very few because there's only a few people that have been talking about the trade so far. They kind of say it's an overpay, but you're getting a young forward in Chinakhov that can kind of fit your timeline of where the team's at. And with Pittsburgh this year and the next two drafts after that, they have their own first round pick. They have 2 seconds and 2/3 all of those years. So you can afford to give up a second and a third to take a chance on a young player that has shown potential, and maybe he's a good fit in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So I really do like this deal for both sides. It makes a lot of sense for both of these teams.
Yeah, if you're choosing between a draft pick and a player that already looks like he's going to be a pretty good player, you're almost always taking the player, unless it's going to be a
Yeah.
first rounder but honestly, in a lot of cases, it needs to be a solid first round draft pick as well,
Yeah.
because there's plenty of guys that get drafted 10th overall that just don't even touch the NHL. And Chinakhov 100% is an NHL player, and yeah, I like the deal for both sides. Same
What are
as you. Like
Chinakhov's stats in the NHL when he was with Columbus?
This year he has 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points in 29 games, so it hasn't been great. But in
But
the
it's also in
past,
like a fourth line role.
a
He really
fourth
wasn't
line
getting
role
much ice time.
scratched it plenty of times as well, especially to start the year because of these trade rumors.
Yeah.
And last season he was half a point a game, equal goals and assists, well 7 and 8, 15 in points in 30 games. Before that, 29 points in 53 games, 13 in 30. In his rookie year, even, I mean, 14 points in 62 games. Like, he's been able to produce
And this
77
is a
points
guy
in
that
204 games in the career. That's not bad.
and never really being given a full opportunity in Columbus, I feel like.
Yeah, and he's
You
still
see the flashes of it, but
24.
never really got the chance to play in a proper role. And again, that's no fault against Columbus. Columbus has a lot of good young players too, and Chinakhov kind of just ended up being the odd guy out. That's why he requested a trade, and yeah, I'm glad he's able to get out of Columbus. I'm glad Columbus was able to get some good assets back, and it's just a very, very good deal by both teams, and it does good for the player Chinakhov and Danton Heinen, who there was no room for him in Pittsburgh anymore. Just recently put on waivers, and maybe he can find a spark in Columbus in a bottom 6 role that they're looking for, and get back on track for him as well.
Yeah, like Danton Heinen started falling off a bit, but he's also on a bottoming team like the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. He's 30 years old, so he's not like super over the hill. He's got 243 points in 579 career games. So he's, probably about, let's say, zero point 0.4 points per game on his career. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like that's definitely someone that you can have on your roster. Like if he's getting scratched in Pittsburgh, they don't need to mind giving him up, and there's definitely a good chance that he could be pretty decent in Columbus if they deploy him right. Like, it's they're quite a couple years ago at this point, but he's had a 47 point season, a 34-point season, 33, 36, and that one was in 23-24 at the Bruins. So like that's not even that long ago. Like
Mm-hmm.
He even put up 17 points and plus 10 in only 12 games in the AHL this year for the Penguins minor team. So he's still got it. And if he's deployed right in Columbus, I definitely think, especially with them getting the draft picks back, this could easily end up being a win-win for both sides.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because Chinakhov just wasn't going to work out in Columbus. It was just
wasn't going to work.
Just wasn't at that point.
Yeah, needed to change the scenery, and I think Pittsburgh's a great place for him to go, where there's going to be no shortage of opportunities for him to really secure a spot on that team, and I expect the production to increase for him. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that Columbus is still buying. They're not doing the thing that Buffalo's done for quite a few years at this point. And we thought we were finally on the upswing, but it's not happening yet. Let's sell off some players and get more future. Like at a certain point, you got to be like, the rebuild's over, and we gotta make a push. And that's what the Blue Jackets are doing. They're making moves to be a better team.
Absolutely, and one of those players that they acquired that we mentioned previously, Mason Marchment, definitely putting his stamp on the team. Obviously, very good start with Columbus, a couple goals in his first couple of games with the team, and is showing that he can be more than that, and kind of showing another reason why he's brought in. That's kind of to mix things up, stir the pot, get in the other team's head. And he did just that last night. Maybe not in the best way, but specifically targeting Islanders defenseman Matthew Schaefer. Targeted him with trying to go for a hit that was pretty up high. You could argue elbow to the head. And then I'm not quite as firm on it as other people, but kind of going for a knee on knee, but kind of looks like he almost kind of backed out last second. But nonetheless,
I think the thought was
Matthew
in his
Schaefer
head at some point. I don't think he full committed, but
didn't full commit, but the thought was there, absolutely. And he clips Matthew Schaefer, and that was strike two. And surprisingly, of all players, it was Mathew Barzal who took matters into his own hands. The refs obviously weren't going to do anything. They let play go on. And Mathew Barzal goes full lumberjack and hacks at the foot of Mason Marchment. And a pretty hard swing. Takes Marchment down. Barzal's tossed from the game, gets a $5,000 fine, as we know now. And I'll be honest, I love this from Mathew Barzal.
100%,
I think
I agree.
if you're the New York Islanders, I think you now do need to look at it, and you need to go out and you need to get your Ryan Reeves or your Curtis Douglas. Like you need to go out and you need to
Matt
get
Martin
your
for years.
And Matt Martin, not a dirty player, but would always fight when his team needed him. He'd play the game clean and honest, but if someone was doing something against his team, he would have no problem dropping the gloves and stepping up for him. Yeah. And that's what the Islanders need. I like what Barzal did. I think, if he didn't do that, there was probably going to be a third instance of Marchment trying to do something. Yeah. And so I'm totally fine with this. Probably would like more if he dropped the gloves. But again, Barzal's not a fighter. Mason Marchment's got, 5 inches on him, probably 20 to 30 pounds. Like he's way above Barzal's weight class. So why would he go fight him? And especially when no one else on the team was going to do it.
And if the other guy's doing dirty stuff, then you're a little bit absolved from having to do the honorable way of fighting it. Like, if they did a dirty thing, this is a dirty thing back. So a lot of them will look at it as it evening out that way.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of arguments of people being like, Barzal shouldn't have had to be the one to feel he had to do it. And I'll hear that argument. There's probably some other guys on that team that could have done something. But that sends a message that if Barzal's willing to do it, everyone is.
Yeah, everyone should be.
There's not a single guy on the team that wouldn't be able to do that, because if you would have asked me 2 days ago, who's the least likely to retaliate like that, I would have said Barzal.
Yeah.
This says
proven that
everyone on the team is willing to do that if you're going to go there against our guys. So it almost
and
It
especially
does
when
send a nice
it's
message.
very clearly targeting Schaefer. Like
Yeah.
their star defenseman, the future of that team.
There's a
We've
couple
seen
moving
even
parts.
bad knee injuries can derail careers, and especially a guy that's as beautiful as a skater as Schaefer. One bad knee injury that you got to get surgery that can alter an entire career. So
Barzal's had his
absolutely, you got
career
to
not
you
fully
know
derailed, but it's definitely changed trajectory based on his injuries. So he knows better than anyone. And I think a lot of people just watched highlights and didn't fully, or they just heard the headlines and they didn't fully understand everything here,
yeah
because the way we lay it out, of first there was a hit to the head where there's a bit of head contact. He didn't brain him, but it wasn't good.
mhm,
And then he clips him with a knee on knee. That's too much worse. That's two instances, and they sound way worse than the headlines going around, which is
yeah
uh, he tripped Schaefer, and then Barzal went up and hacked him. That makes it sound like he tripped him with his stick once, and then Barzal lost his mind. In reality, there was two instances, and they were both a good bit worse than you might expect if you haven't heard. So,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think it was
And that's the
Barzal
thing, you
just
can
losing
always
his
tell by
mind.
the people the way they talk about it is, are you just looking at the headlines, and the main clip that goes around doesn't show, anything leading up to it. It just starts with Barzal whacking him, and it's like, okay, so you're someone that just sees something, you're immediately you got a strong opinion about it, but you don't pay attention to anything else that kind of was going on before that, or maybe using your brain thinking, why would he do this? Like, players
Yeah.
don't. I mean, some players, do, but not very often a guy goes around and just whacks someone like that. Like, there's obviously a reason for it,
Even in
and
the clip, he looks at him
you
for
know,
a good bit. It's incredibly calculated. He's probably thinking, should I fight him right now? And he elected, I'm going to chop him one.
yeah,
And um, I want to get your thoughts on this part of it, because there wasn't a ton of people, but there was some people saying online, like, there was some people saying this is not a good look for Barzal, because basically Mason Marchment, his job is to try and draw penalties. And he drew a 5-minute penalty and a game misconduct, because a 5-minute penalty for slashing is an automatic game misconduct by the rules.
hmm
Like, there's no
yeah. There's
decision
no, yeah.
making on that. It's automatic. So people were saying, oh, well, if I'm a goon on another team, I'm doing all that. I'm going after Schaefer, trying to draw a big penalty. Like, do you think the players look at it like that?
Potentially, but you also got to look at it from the other side. Yeah, Mason Marchment drew a 5 in a game, but he got 2 minutes for tripping on that play. Immediately came out of the penalty box and took a tripping penalty. So he drew a 5-minute major, but all in all, he took 4 minutes of penalties and only gave Columbus a minute, and it was broken up throughout it. So they got 40 seconds of power play time and then 20 seconds. So,
Yeah,
if that was Marchment's job and people are trying to prop him up for that, well, if he fucked that part up because Columbus hardly got a power play out of that. They did win the
yeah,
game, but that power play didn't mean shit for them.
yeah. I
And
think a
and
lot of
maybe,
people.
yeah, maybe it's you target, Schaefer, and you think, yeah, you're going to draw some Islanders to, you know, do stuff like this, absolutely. But you got to be willing then, hey, if I'm going to try and brain Schaefer, you know, I better be careful when going in
Your
the
team's
corner
looking a lot less
because,
safe.
yeah,
Yeah,
or if, who's our star player, maybe someone's going to go after them. Or if it keeps happening, and I already said it, it's going to force the Islanders to, you got to go and you got to get your own Matt Rempe. You
yeah,
got to get a guy and bring a guy in that honestly, maybe they can't even fucking skate. Maybe it's like a Doug Glatt player, a player that doesn't know shit about the game, but your job is to go out there and
I'm almost more surprised we
just
don't still
maul
have them in the
anyone
game.
that wants to. And I think they're starting to slowly come back into the game.
Yeah, and I think that's a
I think we're
Department of
starting to
Player
see it now
Safety
where
issue a bit
some
more,
guys are
but
starting to feel too comfortable doing the same shit and targeting players to the point where we're going to start to see a wave, I think, of those enforcers back into the league. And I'm fine with it because people's argument against enforcers is they don't know how to play hockey. They're only out there to injure people. But that's not even the case. Yeah, maybe they're goal isn't to play hockey, but it's to protect their teammates.
Yeah.
The alternative is if they're not there, the star players are going to be the ones getting injured.
Yeah. I don't hold
And
it
so,
against them. It's
you know,
more of like, I wish they didn't feel necessary. I wish the league would protect the players
well,
enough.
exactly. But I'm
But
saying if the league's not going to
if
do
the league
anything,
doesn't, then you
yeah,
need somebody to.
if you're the Islanders, you know, you got to find someone, whether that's someone already within your roster in the AHL, or maybe you have to trade a third, and that's worth it if you have to trade a third-round pick to bring protection and to make sure that your star defenseman isn't dealing with this type of stuff, right? So, but all in all I can say is good on Barzal. I think that fine is absolutely worth it. I'm sure he'll pay that every day of the week, and I know he gained a lot of respect from Schaefer, all his teammates, and a lot of hockey fans in general who didn't know that he could bring this side of the game. So
it's the most positive talk I've heard around a slashing major in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
One other thing with that, whether or not the other team seems it kind of being worth it. I've seen a lot of people being like, yeah, but how much of the point did he even get across? Because Marchment didn't even leave the game. And it's like, sure, this time, if that slash hits him 10 times a week, 4 of them could give him injuries that would take him out for a while. Like, we've seen guys have their ankles, their wrists broken from slashing. Like, slashing can hurt guys. That's why it's a major. It didn't here. Maybe next time he don't miss. Maybe he hit a bit of shin pad this time. Like, I don't think that's something that these guys are willing to risk as much as people online are saying. They're like, yeah, you'll take a big slash for five minutes every day. It's like, yeah, if he hits you square on the shin pads. But they're specifically not aiming for the shin pads, though.
But it hurt Marchment is the thing. Yeah, he didn't leave the game, but he's feeling that slash today. It's no different from when you block a shot off your foot. It's like, oh, they play, but it's like, yeah, but as soon as you take that skate off and there's potential swelling, like, because he caught him right on the top of the foot, and it was a hard slash, and it kind of looked like it was about the heel of the stick, so a pretty hard part of the stick. Like, Marchment's going to be feeling that one. Yeah, he didn't leave the game, but his foot's going to be sore for the next little bit.
Yeah.
And that's, that's the thing. If the refs aren't going to kind of, do their job and they let stuff get out of hand, this kind of stuff is going to happen. And when you see a player that usually isn't involved in this kind of stuff, they feel like they have to go out of their way to stand up for their players. That's when you know that, all right, now it's starting to get out of hand a bit. And all I can say is I think great on Barzal, and
I almost wonder if we're heading to a point where, when eventually they remake the rule book, probably after Bettman's out, because he just refuses to for whatever reason. I wonder if we're at the point where we need a new type of penalty, and maybe you call it targeting or something like that. One that's slightly more distinct than intent to injure, because we've seen intent to injure plays, but they're just, oh, there's a guy on the other team in front of me and he's in a vulnerable spot, dumped headfirst into the boards, right? That's not targeting, but that is intent to injure. But, we're starting to see, the Florida Panthers and Brandon Hagel, Columbus going after Schaefer, things like that, like, are
I don't
with
think so.
Some guys.
It's so hard to tell with that. And
I don't know. Like, I don't think it would be a
I get where you're coming from, but I think it would just
over.
be too tough. And
I don't think you'd call it on regular checks either. Like, if somebody finishes a check harder against a guy multiple times, that's like, it would have to be something that's like
clean.
There's
but if they're
already
clean checks, that's fine though. That's the thing. If they're clean hits,
that's exactly what I'm saying. That shouldn't be a penalty. But in this case, when it's okay, that's multiple times you've gone after Schaefer, and that was a trip, and it looked like you went for a knee on knee. Like, now maybe it's 2 minutes for tripping and 2 minutes for targeting, because you wouldn't have tripped any other player. You would have gone for a stick on stick play.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think it would just be way too. Yeah, I just don't see.
It would almost have to be something that has to
be
attached to another penalty. Like, it can only upgrade a penalty for that reason. But
yeah, Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it would just be too hard, and that's just yeah. It's just so hard to tell on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, maybe that'd be a job for the eye in the sky if they ever get the
If that ever
NFL
comes into
style
play.
ref who just watches the game on the camera and makes a bunch of
Absolutely.
decisions for him, makes it easier on the guys on the ice. But
But you
regardless,
did mention the Florida Panthers, and we got a little bit of Florida Panthers news. We know that Matthew Tkachuk is back on the ice. He practiced for the first time this season. Not much to say, but that's all we know so far is that he is back um, on the ice. There's no timeline for exactly when he's going to be
yeah,
back. We assume by at least the end of January he's expected to be playing for
I think this is
USA in the Olympics. So
I think that's
it's
similar
something to
to
keep an eye
Bedard.
on.
It's right before the when we think they're going to be announcing it. He's like, "All right, I think I'm on the roster, but I want to practice at least once, show them that we're
I think
progressing."
he's already announced on the team, isn't he? I think he's already
That's a
one of the
good point,
guys
probably.
announced.
But
But again,
if
like if
there
he's
were
injured, he
injury
obviously can't play.
concerns, they
But
could probably take him off.
mhm.
Um, but
But you'd wait until the day before you go to make that
yeah,
call if
I think this is just a bit of
not
good
there.
faith, and he was wearing a no
Hmm.
contact jersey as
Yeah,
expected. But yeah,
getting
he's
some
practicing.
conditioning in, and but yeah, not much else to say on that. We'll keep an eye on that and see when Matthew Tkachuk comes back, as Florida Panthers could desperately use him back with all their injuries. But we'll see whenever that happens. We can go over to the Ottawa Senators. Do you want to let us know what's happening with Ottawa here?
Yeah. Well, I can report this, but unfortunately, we do not really know much about it. Ottawa Senators goalie Linus Ullmark. He's taking the leave of absence for personal reasons. They've left it at that. There's been no
Yeah,
rumors. There's been no really anything on it.
there's been
Um,
nothing.
we don't know how long it's going to be. It's one of those things where they'll probably just label it as indefinite until he comes back. So
Yeah.
might be 5 days, might be a month. It's hard to say. So
All we
whatever is
can say
going
is
on,
best wishes to Linus Ullmark, and hopefully
yeah,
he's doing okay, and hopefully back sooner rather than later with the Sens.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. They could definitely use him back as soon as possible. So hopefully everything's all good with him and he comes back in a timely manner. But beyond that, is that all of our regular news?
Kind of news
Uh,
when we got the Tampa, we got the
yeah, we
last one
got the
there. I'll
big
let
signing.
you talk on that one. That's your
Absolutely.
team. Those are your boys. So
So I was on my way back from the last of my Christmas parties and everything, family get-togethers for the holidays, and we were on our driving on our way back, and the Lightning Panthers game started at I believe 5, and so it was about 4 o'clock, and we were driving home. My wife was driving, and I was like, I'm gonna check and see if they've announced if Hagel's playing or not, if he's gonna be in, because he was kind of a game time decision. Obviously, whole thing with him and the Panthers, everyone's waiting to see if Hagel will be in. I open up where I get my Tampa news, and nothing about Hagel. Everyone's talking about Moser because JJ Moser signed an 8-year extension at an AAV of is it
I think 6.750.
6.75? Yeah, a $54 million extension, but I absolutely love this. This is such a fantastic deal. I'm just looking to double check that that's the right number. Yeah, 6.75 mil. And man, what a steal. I've been waiting for this guy to get extended all season. Uh, he's been just outrageously good at defending from everywhere. He's been good on the penalty kill, incredible at breaking up rushes, blocking shots. It's clear that he's been working in the offseason with Ryan McDonough. Like he's good at blocking shots, but he's not just selling out for it. Like he's very cerebral in the way he defends. He's got a touch of offense, but honestly, I don't think he's touching even the second power play unit. He's just an incredible defensive player, and
Mhm.
for the value he
You
brings
need
to the
this.
team, this is a just such a good deal. I love it.
Yeah, that's really all I can add is you need guys like this to just kind of bring just a solid, sound defensive side to the game. You look at every recent cup winner; they all have at least one of those defensemen, and something that Tampa's got a lot of, but those guys are starting to get up there in age. They need someone that's going to be around long haul doing it. Moser's
Chernak's
exactly that
injured
guy, and
quite a
an
bit,
8-year
so
deal at a reasonable cap hit. It's a great bit of business by them, and a deal that's going to age very well for them long term.
yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited for this, and people have been talking about how good Darren Radish has been the past month and a half, putting up incredible numbers. Second, there's the whole stat of, I don't know if it's still true, but a week or two ago, it was the last month of play. He's the second in scoring for all defensemen, and
Yeah.
a huge part of that has been him playing with Moser, and Moser is staying back, guarding the net, so Radish could go in and really get in there and find some offense. So yeah,
Mm.
I know Lightning fans are very happy about this signing. I believe Moser, I don't know if it's still the case. It might be a couple days outdated at this point, depending on how good other guys have been. But Moser the was top player in the league in plus minus outside of the top 5 that are all Colorado.
Call players.
It's
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
top 3 forwards for Colorado, the top 2 defensemen, and then Moser. So, yeah,
I know he's
he's
been
definitely earned it.
terrific this season, absolutely. Um, but I think that's kind of the last bit of news around the NHL here. Obviously, being around this time of year, the holiday season, one of the best parts about this time is the World Juniors. The World Juniors tournament takes place every year. We're well underway into it now. A couple days into the tournament, a lot of some highs and some lows. But most notably, I think the biggest talking point so far, aside from the scary incident with Cole Hudson, and thankfully Cole Hudson is okay, and status for remaining of the tournament is undetermined yet, but thankfully he is okay, and it's nothing long term or severe like initially thought, which is always good. But the biggest talking point is the Canada Latvia game. Canada winning that game 2-1 in overtime over Latvia. Before I bash on
Yeah.
Canada, I will say, incredible game by Latvia. The first
Oh,
thing
yeah.
people go to is oh, Canada tried to sell this and this. No, it came down to Latvia wanted it more. Latvia played harder, and Canada got significantly outcoached. And those are just the facts of the game there, and that's why it ended up being a 2-1 game. Latvia actually outscored Canada in regulation, but one goal called back because of a kick. And you very clearly, if you got a stick on it there, Latvia probably wins this game in regulation.
Yeah.
And Latvia scored the only even strength goal all game. Canada had to score both of their goals on the power play, one of which being a 5-minute major that Canada could only get one goal on.
Yeah.
But they won. I mean, they found a way to win, but it's not very often you look at a game and it's like, wow, the losers are probably actually a lot happier than the team that won.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Latvia probably feels a lot better about their performance in this game and gives them a lot more juice going forward compared to how Team Canada would feel. Like it's Team Canada versus Latvia, man. This should be a no-brainer. It should be a slam dunk. This should be an outrageously scored game. The fact that they could only get one in regulation and then they were just able to eke it out in overtime, which did they win on a power play in overtime as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, like man, yeah, they did not play at a level befitting of the favorite of the tournament.
And it
And
was already bad at that point after the game, but it makes it worse when the very next day, the following day, Finland beats Latvia 8-0.
yeah, it kind of was like, oh, maybe Latvia's for real. And then you face, Finland and they get blown out. And now that makes Canada look even worse.
And especially in a year where this is the year where the biggest thing when talking about Team Canada was who they brought the wrong players. But everyone was happy with the roster this year. They said, well, Canada actually made the right
Yeah.
calls this time. And now I think you need to look towards the coaching. I genuinely believe it. I think Canada got severely outcoached in that game against Latvia, and I think that was clear as day. And I think this is a big moment now. The time we're recording today, they do play Denmark. Should be an easy game. We'll see if that's the case, because
Yeah, who knows how confident
Latvia
they're
was
feeling.
supposed to be um, an easy game, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah.
Sweden, obviously to no one's surprise, they're 3-0 in the tournament. The United States, they're 2-0. Finland 2-0. And they've all won all their games in regulation. Canada's technically 2-0, but they're at 5 points. And when you're looking at it, if you don't win against Finland, you're sitting second, and you'd probably much rather play, assuming probably going to be Switzerland, you'd much rather play Switzerland over Slovakia.
Oh, yeah.
In the crossover. So, that's a big thing, is they did win, but when it's the 3-2-1, those regulation wins matter.
And they're barely eking out. They're barely eking out wins against Latvia. And who'd they play first? Was it Czechia?
Czechia.
Like that was a 7-5 game. That was a close game with an empty netter. Like it was a one-goal
kind
game.
of a back and forth game. And I guess we should mention the Porter Martone penalty.
Yeah,
after the empty net goal,
I was going to bring it up because I would love to know
ass tap. You know what? I was fine with it. I think what, Canada's been the laughing stock of the tournament the last 2 years. All these players from different countries, making fun of them and whatnot. You know what? And you look at the and my biggest thing is the American fans that were dogging on Canada for it. You have no power or ability to say anything negative on this, because this kind of stuff is exactly what made the previous American teams who won back-to-back gold so good, is because they didn't care. Essentially, they had that fuck you energy, that whole getting under other players' skins, playing with some bite, and that's something Canada hasn't had. And maybe it's not the best look when it's your captain, but you know what? He's trying to spark something in this team. Maybe didn't quite go the way he wanted, but you know what? I like that Canada's trying. I like that they're trying to, get back to being the top of the junior hockey world, because it's been a rough couple of years for them. So maybe it was a bit in poor taste, but you know what? It's a guy that was drafted by the Flyers, and he's trying to spark his team. So, and he came out and apologized. He owned it and said, you know what? Maybe it was a bit in poor taste, and I shouldn't be doing that as a captain. I said, you know what? I didn't see a problem with it, but you apologized. On to the next game.
The fact that he was willing to apologize is good. Like, just whether he believes that or not, just the fact that there were enough people upset that he took it under the advisement and decided to. And I saw there was plenty of people, like, they were calling for him to lose the captaincy and all this, and everyone, one of the big things going around was unprofessionalism, and I just don't see it, man.
People are.
We like, I get it, it's the Olympics, it's a slightly different standard, but we still know we're playing hockey, right? Like, I don't know, like, that's the kind of stuff. If Brad Marchand did that, people, their pants would be full of piss as they're laughing at it. Like, they would love it. Like, I don't know, something about it being the juniors, it feels like they're holding to such a different standard, and he got his penalty, and I think the penalty was warranted. I think 2 minutes is fair.
I think that was fine.
But yeah, like, everyone making a big deal about it, wanting to be stripped to the sea. It's like, that seems like more gamemanship than unprofessionalism, right? Like, he's, unprofessional is when the player wins silver and says, "I didn't want silver," and throws it into the crowd.
Yeah.
That's
choosing not to be in the handshake line, or not, or keeping your helmet on during the other team's anthem or something like that. That kind of shit is wrong. But this, you know what? It's all part of the game, and I think you said perfect. If a guy like Marchand did it, people would think it's hilarious and whatnot, right? And
who should love this?
I think
though?
It's fun.
I think you can actually get this. Who should love this more than anybody?
The Flyers.
Obviously, Flyers fans.
Yeah.
Like, if maybe it's not becoming of captain of Team Canada, oh my god, is it becoming of a Philadelphia Flyer? That's
Yeah.
what they want. Like, that's at the
Yeah.
NHL level, that's who you want on the Flyers.
That's
Like,
exactly it, right?
and
That was my first thought, and that's even what I sent to. I said he's such a flyer. Like
yeah,
he's already got that mentality. He plays that way, and um, yeah. But
I've day one, I've loved that pick from them in the draft, getting him, and
yeah,
uh, you just love to see that reinforced there. He looks like a Flyer already, and
absolutely.
yeah,
And there's been a lot of great players across this tournament, across multiple countries. Like there's not one player single handedly stealing the show. Like there's not
there
that
usually
Connor
is, but there really
Bedard.
hasn't.
Yeah, like it's a lot of good players who are all producing for their respective teams, and I think that kind of makes it fun when
Frondell
it's
looked
not one
incredible.
player stealing the show. It's you're getting to see a lot of these guys that you normally don't see or hear about, and they're balling. Like I'm just looking at it, and it's a bunch of guys all tied at the top for points. Same with goals. It's
Yeah,
a little bit of everybody.
yeah, which is making it a deeper tournament, and yeah, it's
More
been great
balanced.
to watch. So we'll keep up on the World Juniors as those keep going, and if anything else big comes out of it, I know Zane
Yeah,
Paret
we'll
took a
come.
hit that was a bit high up. The guy left his feet for it, but he returned to the game. I think.
Yeah,
Did he?
he was fine. Yeah, he
He
wasn't
was
even
fine.
injured on the play. Yeah,
That's
but it's
good.
an automatic 5 in a game as per the double
Yeah,
HF rules, and that's a totally different discussion for probably never to be have because it is what it is.
and
Um,
you know what? Wherever he hit him, at the end of the day, he left his feet to deliver a check, which is just
can't do,
bad form.
can't
So
do. No, not allowed. But we'll come back and we'll touch on the World Juniors later this week on the Friday episode. Is when we'll be recording that. Will
yep.
be on I guess, a Thursday. So we'll know where everything sits after the round robin, who's playing who, and all that kind of stuff. So, great tournament. If you haven't checked out any of it, highly encourage you to go check it out. It's really fun, great hockey, and you get to see the next wave of players that are going to be entering the NHL over the next couple of years. So, might as well get a head start early and see which players you like, and then it makes the draft when it comes around fun as well. And you got
It makes the
players
draft a
from the
lot more
tournament
fun.
that you're really hoping your team gets because you got to watch them play in this tournament. And again, it's the best of the young talent around the world out there all playing against each other. So it's tough to
Yeah.
beat it.
Certainly makes it more interesting looking at your team's draft picks in the depth rounds as well. Like,
Yeah.
Once you get to those fourth, fifth rounds, you haven't heard of a lot of those guys, but if the goalie who stole Czechia a big game or something is still available or something, like it's fun to
Hmm.
see who gets those kind of players because maybe they end up being something. So
Yeah.
it always just adds a little bit more fun to that.
Absolutely. But with that, we can move on into our second last segment here, and it is everybody's favorite time. It is the weekly mock trade.
Yeah.
And Braden, this is your week for the mock trade. I have to adjust something on the side here so I can hear you still, but you can set the scene for us on
Okay.
on this mock trade here that I'm looking forward to. You said you were pretty proud of it and you liked the way that it looked, so I'm curious to see
I think
what we
I
got
don't
here.
know if the value's perfect, but I do like the outline of it. Just because we don't have it written down while I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to throw it out there, especially with Bruni fixing his thing. We are doing our 3 other videos through the rest of this week on YouTube that are our takes on what we think should be some of the Olympic teams going to Milan. We've already recorded the Team Canada one, and we're going to be recording the Team USA and Team Sweden one very soon. I think we're just doing those 3. Oftentimes, people also obviously do Finland is a big one, and I just figured now's a good time as any to say we're not going to be doing one for Finland, and the only reason for that is we've looked at a couple projections, and they're all the exact same. They don't have as much contention to get in for people to get in there, or for guys to be moved around. Like their lineup's just concrete enough that it's
the best way to break it down
spot.
is we were debating on we did all of our ones for the Four Nations last year. And we got around to Finland, and it was basically, I mean, the defense is set in stone because they only have a certain amount of defensemen. Like they literally went with every NHL defenseman from Finland minus Heiskanen, who was injured. And you can bring an extra defenseman now. So Heiskanen fills that spot. The covers it there.
Yeah. So the replacement for Heiskanen isn't even kicked off the team.
Yeah, we would just stay on the team, and instead of being the 7th defenseman, he's now the 8th. And with the forwards, you're debating between 15 forwards for 14 spots, pretty much. And by then, it's like, why would you listen to us basically list off exactly who everybody else probably has? I think Finland has a very good team, but it's kind of just what it is. Well, and I guess with Barkov out, it's their best forward. That 15th guy is probably off, is just on the team. So
yeah,
we would just be listing off the teams that you could easily Google, and what every writer has is exactly what we would have, because they're not as deep as other countries. They got the top end talent, but it doesn't go as deep as some other countries. Yeah. So
it's a good team. It's just not inducive for conversation, because we kind of know who's on the squad. So
it would be a very short episode of listing off what we already know and what you guys at home know, and every hockey fan out there knows.
So sorry to all our Finnish listeners.
Always cheering for Finland, though. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you do want to see a breakdown of that roster, though, there's plenty of guys posting them right now. Still, we just didn't want to be another in the sea of people putting out the same team.
Exactly.
Yeah. But with that, like you said, we are into the mock trade part of the episode, and I have a team that I think a lot of people are wondering what direction they're going to go, and this puts them in a direction. And I think this is the direction this team has to go into, and they want to. The results just have not been there. It is a Winnipeg Jets trade, and I have the Winnipeg Jets trading Jonathan Toews, because he's taken up a lot of cap space for what he's been doing. Unfortunately, it's just not quite worked for him there. They are trading Jonathan Toews and their first-round pick, which is pretty enticing right now, because I believe they're 30th in the league. This is them going in for it. And in exchange, they are getting, from the Chicago Blackhawks, Matt Grzelcyk and Nick Foligno at 50% retained. So he will be making just over $2 million. Obviously, the big thing getting moved here is the first-round pick. Jonathan Toews is negative value, so they're having to pay to get rid of him. And the rest of the value of that first-rounder is bringing in Matt Grzelcyk, who has been pretty decent on the season for his...
He's only making $1 million.
He's making only $1 million. I was going to have him retained, but I figured it's $1 million. It's
$1 million.
It probably just stays at that. He's got 7 points in 38 games on Chicago. Not that great, but a +1 on Chicago. It's not bad. As a depth defenseman, you could do a lot worse.
Bottom team in the league.
So that would definitely help them out. And then Nick Foligno 50% retained. Okay. So that brings it down to $2.25 million. So all in all, they're saving money on the cap hit because of all the performance bonuses for Toews. And they're getting Nick Foligno, who's a bit more consistent, younger, a good depth center to kind of take over the role Toews has been doing, just do it better. They're getting Matt Grzelcyk. I don't know if they would put any conditions on the first, because have to. But that's also the only reason the Blackhawks would be making this trade. Right?
Yeah, but even if you say it's top 5 protected or top 10 protected, Chicago probably would still do it.
That's kind of where the bartering is. Like, do they argue for top 3 protection, top 5? If it's top 10, now we're at the point where Chicago's just not doing the deal, probably. But yeah, I'd say top 3 or top 5 protected, probably, because they don't want to risk not getting the first overall. But it's got to be enough that the deal happens. Either way, you got to imagine they're trying to figure out a way to get into the playoffs. Like, they're This
Yeah.
isn't a team in a position to write the season off and just give it a go next year. Like they want to compete every year they possibly can.
Yes, and that's the tough part, right? When you look at Winnipeg, like the goal should be to win now. But the only way to win now is you have to end up in that first wild card spot. You end up in that second wild card spot, it's well, go play the Avalanche first round. If you get by them, you still got to play either Dallas or Minnesota, and that's just not a path that Winnipeg realistically can get through. I mean, anything can happen in the playoffs, but
If
realistically,
they can turn it
it ain't
around, I mean,
happening.
they
It
won
ain't
the
happening.
Presidents last year. Like they're a
Yeah,
good
very,
team.
very different team now, though it feels like. And you would need Connor Hellebuck to basically steal you 2 games each, like per series you go through.
Right.
And that's the tough part. Is like when you're giving up a first, you probably want more than Grzelcyk and Foligno, but at the same time, you are kind of having to pay to dump
Get rid
Jonathan
of
Toews
Toews.
because it really hasn't worked out there, and that's just the unfortunate part of it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't hate the deal, but again, like if I'm Winnipeg, they should be pushing for the playoffs. They should be a playoff team.
Right.
But I don't hate a one-off year of, you miss the playoffs, you get a top 10 pick, and then you're right back in the hunt next year. My thing I always think back to is the San Jose Sharks. How many years, did they make the playoffs? They were always a favorite and one of the top teams, and then never quite got the job done in the playoffs. You get to that 2014-15 season, they missed the playoffs. Kind of shocked everybody, and they missed the playoffs, and they get the 9th overall pick. And what happened the next year? They went to the Stanley Cup Finals. So it is possible for that to happen for teams. And if you're Winnipeg, I mean, you can't give up your first and not have some kind of strong protection on it. I think even a top 10 protected, I think is fine. Because then if you're Chicago, hey, maybe you get the 11th or 12th overall pick. But if Winnipeg ends up in the top 10, you have an unprotected first next year. And whether you want to hold on to that pick, whether, by then next year, if Chicago is really planning on being a playoff team, you can use that because, again, it's an unprotected first. It's got a lot of value potentially. You can trade that for something else. So I have no hesitation from Chicago's side whatsoever. Like if you're getting a first, you do that all day. It's Winnipeg that I'm unsure because I don't know if Grzelcyk and Foligno gets them over the hump. If that gets them out of the basement and into a playoff spot, it definitely could, but
it would also I would assume there would be plans for the rest of the money.
Some other kind of move to be made.
Another made because right now, how much is right now he's up to $5 million in performance bonuses, and he's got the base cap hit of $2 million, so he's making $7 million.
And when we say performance bonuses, it's not based on his play. It is literally just games he has played in. Like it's just regular season games. If he's in the lineup and playing, that goes towards it. It's not on how many goals, assists, or face-off wins or whatever. Like it's literally just stepping onto the ice in a game goes towards those bonuses, which was such a awful decision by Winnipeg on a guy that it is Jonathan Toews, but hasn't played in a couple years. You didn't know what level he was going to be coming in, and the lack of depth when it wasn't going well with him to keep putting him in the lineup, knowing you are going to have to be paying more. Was the Winnipeg Jets handled the situation very poorly and very badly, and you might have to pay at first to get yourself out from it now, and it's a tough lesson to learn, but it might be a necessary one.
So that was basically my thoughts on it. Obviously, also a little bit of a fun part of it. This also means Jonathan Toews is going back to Chicago. So he'd be getting sent there.
Does he have any trade protection at all?
I was looking, as far as I can find, he has zero trade protection.
Trade protection.
So
maybe that's why he got the incentives of the the
She's getting as
contract
much
and the
money.
bonuses the way it was because there's no trade protection. Winnipeg can move on from it any chance. So I don't hate it. Again, for Chicago, I love it. For Winnipeg, I'm hesitant, but I'm on board depending on
You'd probably try waiving him
where
first.
the
Maybe at least see if you can maybe try and waive him first, see if somebody will pick him up
no one would.
off your
No one would.
hands. But that's just kind of doing the good business of trying that before making a trade because, yeah, there's a very, very small chance that anyone would.
You're gonna have to move him, especially with how high his salary is up to now, and you probably will have to pay the price to send him to Chicago is probably you get future considerations back is a second round pick. So you upgrade to a first and you get Grzelcyk, who helps your blue line out, and Foligno that helps improve your depth. It's probably the price you have to pay. Yeah, I just don't know if it's worth it for Winnipeg.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you're Winnipeg and you do that, then you have to be willing to, go all out. And
that would be my thought.
Yeah, you just gotta
probably
bite the
come
bullet
with
on this season and
other deals.
Yeah, I assume there would be. So I don't hate it though. I think for Winnipeg though, minimum top 10 protected. I think.
That's fair.
And I don't think that's enough to scare Chicago away.
Probably not, because you are right in that either way they're getting a first rounder. The Central is pretty strong right now. There's not a reason to believe any of the other top teams will fall off. Like they still have reasons to like it, and yeah, I think the Jets need to try and get something going this season because they've already got Kyle Connor's getting a $5 million raise going into next year when his extension kicks in. Cole Perfetti doesn't even have a contract for next season yet. Who knows how much of a raise he's getting?
He'll need an extension.
It's quite a few of their guys are getting older. Hellebuck's 32 already. None of their guys are going to age out to the point where it's really going to affect their play, except for Nino Niederreiter might get a bit older. He's 33. He'll be 34. A little bit worse. Nyquist already hasn't worked out there, so that's fine. He's expiring anyway, but it just gets a little bit harder. It just gets a little bit harder next year compared to this year, and
absolutely, yeah.
If it's getting harder, then you might as well go for it now because their team's old enough. They're on a timeline. It's hard to say how long the window is, but
yeah. Overall, though, I think that's an acceptable mock trade, and I think that is a realistic one that we definitely could see happen. So I do give the deal a thumbs up though. Overall, I'm hesitant from the Winnipeg side, but it makes a lot of sense for
might have to put some peripheral stuff in there and see if you can find some other pieces that maybe there's somebody that they want that's a little bit better than Grzelcyk or something.
But the skeleton of
retained or something.
The deal is good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.
But with that, we can move on into our final segment here now. Everybody knows we always love to wrap things up with a fun game and have a good time. We're gonna do one final edition this year of Guess Who. For those unfamiliar with the game, pretty simple. I have a player in mind, and Braden can ask me yes or no questions to try and narrow it down to the player and as few questions as possible and see if he can beat his record. The record is 7, so 5 questions and then a guess. Pretty tough to do, but been very close the last few times with it. You've always been sniffing around it and had a couple good chances. So to wrap up the year here, this is our final episode before the new year. We will see what you can do here. So,
all right.
With that being said, we are ready to go. Whenever you are ready, you can fire off questions.
All right. Well, I have to do it in quite not very many guesses, so we gotta go fairly bold with it. I know a lot of the time you'll give me a range on how obvious this player is. Do you want to give me a 1 to 10 on this guy?
This seems to hurt you more than it helps you, but absolutely, I'll do it.
Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. It narrows it down, but then when I'm going for the specific player, it maybe messes with it.
I'll go with the 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like a 6 is actually pretty fair.
Okay, I like that. It cuts out some of the guys. Probably not any backup goalies. If it is, it's a pretty good duo, I would imagine. We can definitely work with a 6. Let's go. Does this player play defense?
They do. They do play
Look at that.
defense.
One question down. We already got it to probably about a third of the league. Narrowed it down in there. Do they play for? Do I go for a swing? It's a 25% chance. If I'm guessing a division. Do they play for a team in the Central Division?
No, they do not. They've not played for a team in the Central
Dang.
Division.
They're a D-man, not in the Central. Is this player over the age? Are they 29 years old or older?
29 is older. It's actually 29. 29 or older. Yes, they are 29 or older.
Okay, so they are 29 or older. I'm going to assume they're fairly
defenseman,
close to 29
not
or potentially
in the
29
Central.
on the dot because it took you a bit there.
I just had to look
if
it up just to confirm.
Yeah, but it's not. You can rule out your Drew Dowdies and stuff based on even having a check.
Not necessarily the case. Not necessarily the case. Never know.
I thought Drew Dowdy was 28. So a D-man, not in the Central. What else is going to help? Handedness won't help me very much. Knowing the team is so important.
Yeah, you got to kind of know the division or the team. Like those are, kind of the really important parts you need.
Is this player making $5.4 million per season or more?
Let me double check here. So 5.4 or more.
Yeah.
Why did it kick me off this? I was just looking at it. Where'd they go? 5.4 or more. No. Yeah. No.
So less than 5.4 million. All right. So they're not making a ton of money, but they are older than 29 or 29. Oh, God. How am I going to narrow down the team? Do I go another division or do I go outside
And
the
essentially,
box?
if you want to get the record, it is one more question and then a guess.
Jeez.
Very, very tough. Yeah. You basically have to have a perfect game if you ever want to set the new record.
Yep.
But you also know it's a 6 out of 10. So maybe that will help in some way. I don't know.
Is this player in the Metro Division?
No, they are not in the Metro Division.
Okay, so they're in the Atlantic or the Pacific. It is a D-man in the Atlantic or the Pacific. 29 or older, making less than 5.4. But they're 6 out of 10, so it is a player you'd know of, despite making less than that. So it's not like it's some league min bum, most likely, unless maybe they're no, because they can't even be on the ELC because they're older. So
yeah.
And I would have to guess it here to set the record, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go for it. But man, there's not a lot to work with there.
There's really not a lot to go off of, yeah.
Might have to just be a bit of a Hail Mary.
Two swing and misses on the divisions is that puts you at such
it's rough.
A disadvantage.
At that point,
But,
I might as well have asked what conference and then picked those divisions because a yes or no tells me the other one's right.
Yeah,
going for the division is really just hoping that you get it on your first try.
Yeah. Absolutely. But we'll see what you got here. We'll see if you can pull off the Hail Mary here for the win.
Yeah. I'm looking at some players. I'm thinking Pacific. I'm thinking more than 5 point. They're making less than 5.4.
29 or older.
Okay. Okay. I think I've got a guess. I feel like this fits a 6 out of 10. Maybe they might be a bit higher, but it's in the ballpark, so I like it. And this player is 29 years old. So that also makes sense with when you had to double check on the age a little bit. They're in the Pacific. They're a D-man. They make less than 5.4. They make 4.55 mil for just this year. I am going to guess the mystery player is one Rasmus Andersson from the Calgary Flames.
A very good guess. Fits all the criterias correctly, but it is not Rasmus Andersson.
No, it was a pretty low percentage play.
The only parts you got right there is a right-handed defenseman on a Canadian team.
Right-handed on a Canadian team.
You did get those two parts right.
Is he on the Vancouver
I'll give
Canucks?
I'll give you a bonus. I'll give you a bonus guess on a player. It's not for the win, but it is a bonus guess for cool guy points.
For cool guy points.
But it is a right-hand defenseman on a Canadian team. And everything
6 out
else
of 10?
that already applies. Yeah.
Over 30, over 29, less than 5.4. Sure, I'll go for it. Is it Tyler Myers on the Vancouver Canucks?
It is not Tyler Myers, no. Nah. It is a big boy though. He is a big boy. You get a lot of the traits right, but big boy.
Big boy. Who's a big
man
boy on a Canadian team?
Has a really cool first name.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Trying to think. I can't even come up with a guess.
It is Brandon Carlo.
I was thinking if you just meant like it was think of I wasn't even thinking of players.
Yeah, it was Brandon Carlo.
Fair enough. That's a good 6 out of 10.
And he was you did catch on though. He was exactly 29. The player was exactly 29.
Yeah, I figured it had to be like 29, 30, maybe 31.
Right in there, yeah. I had to double check on the salary because I never know how it works out because I know technically I think he's making more. Actually, I don't even know if he is, but I know he's got the retained salary, so I never know how that quite works out. So I always just go off what they say on like cap wages.
Yeah, what their cap hit is with their current team.
Yeah.
Right now, like if the player was Erik Karlsson, I would assume you would say they're making
10.
under. Yeah, they're making under 11 mil, despite him actually getting 11 and a half.
Exactly, yeah. But you did put up a good effort there. It wasn't the easiest one, but you did try for that.
I bungled it on the divisions, but I mean
the division
that's
part
happen.
Of stuff. Absolutely. But
if I didn't guess that, I was gonna ask if they play on a team whose main color is blue, and that would have helped.
That would have helped. Well, you probably sort of went Tyler Myers, but
true.
So true. But anyone at home, if you got Brandon Carlo right, you guessed it right, you can always let us know. Again, any cool hockey items, memorabilia, jersey, whatever, anything you want to show off to us, you can do so at the end of our socials as well. It's the last episode of 2025 for us. We will be back in the new year, 2026. Maybe we'll do a fun any maybe fun stuff we might do for like a year in review or anything. I think that'll all just be YouTube stuff. And more than likely, the podcast as usual will be the regular, keeping up to date on what's going on around the league, having some fun, playing some games, and all that fun shit. But Braden, you know what time it is. Everybody knows what time it is. I must ask you, One final time this year. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. There's a couple different teams looking at whether or not they should on taking some of these young players to the Olympics. We got our Olympics videos, like I've said before, coming out on YouTube over the next few days. So make sure to check us out. And I'm just hoping that teams don't leave off these good young players just because they're young. I'm hoping if the player's good enough, you bring them. All right, it doesn't have to be age before if he's a beauty. So
absolutely, yeah.
Hope they bring the right guys.
One final thing to wrap it up. We did talk about how Canada beat Czechia. They barely squeaked by Latvia. Finland dominated Latvia. And right now, Czechia, with 9 minutes left, is up 1-0 over Finland. So just goes to show how crazy and unpredictable the World Juniors can be. But that is it for this episode. One final time. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, we will see all of you lovely people out on the ice next year.